You're listening to the Open Books Podcast.
Your next chapter starts now.
Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is she the one?
Hello, and welcome back to the Open Books Podcast. I hope everyone has been having a fabulous week, except if your name is Josie Fair. How is my angel Colby doing?
I'm doing good, but good morning / good evening to everyone except Josie Fair.
Josie Fair.
Josie Fair.
Josie Fair.
That was
can
it.
Get the fuck.
That was it, because the narrators always did a little they did a little like shh with Josie. Josie Fair. Josie Fair. We're going to talk about her.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said.
There's a lot to be said about Josie.
So we're recapping None of This Is True
By good old Lisa Jewell.
Lisa Jewell. I love this book.
I did too.
I really
did. Went back and forth. What was my overall feelings towards this book, aside from the end, which I know we'll talk about. I like the book.
The thing about our podcast, though, is by the time we're done recapping and analyzing, things change.
We change our minds all the time.
Yes. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, that's very true. Because
Stay
I have
tuned.
some, as always, 5-star and 1-star review, but I also have a theory from Reddit
I love
that
it.
I thought you would appreciate. I found it specifically for you.
No, I love Reddit. Okay, so None of This Is True.
Let's do it.
Should we just jump in?
As we should.
Okay, so if you guys, it's kind of weird to think that there's a region in the world that doesn't say y'all and they say like you all.
It's my mother's region.
And does she say you all?
She says you guys.
You guys. But if y'all read None of This Is True, I'm excited to hear other people if they read the audiobook or if they listened to the audiobook or if they read Kindle versus book.
Wait, we have something here.
Yeah.
Team Kindle, team book, team audio.
I did find this summary from Super Summary. This is a very popular book. So there's all kinds of mini summaries on the internet. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself a little break. And I'm going to take one from the internet.
We give credit where credit is due.
Exactly. So this is from Super Summary. And if we need to add things in here and there, we can. So let's just see how it goes. And if it's not good, I'll never do this again.
Let's go.
Okay. So None of This Is True combines psychological thriller conventions with the elements of the true crime genre. The novel intersperes multiple retrospective narrative voices to enhance the traditional narration of the main plot in order to outline the increasingly sinister aspects of the relationships between podcaster Alex Sommer and Josie Fair, the woman who approaches her and proposes to be the subject of her next podcast. I like that the whole time they say podcast. Podcast. In addition to this main plot line, the story is supplemented by interviews, transcripts, and other materials from the Netflix documentary based on their story. When Josie Fair steps out of her comfort zone to celebrate her 45th birthday in a popular local pub, she meets Alex Sommer, her birthday twin, who is celebrating her own 45th birthday as well. Although they are from the same neighborhood, Josie and Alex's lives are very different. Josie lives with her husband, Walter, and her daughter, Erin, in a small apartment overlooking a bus stop. Her older daughter, Roxy, has long since left her family home. The circumstances of Roxy's departure are left untold until the end of the novel. Alex lives with her husband, Nathan, and their 2 children, Eliza and Leon, in a spacious, elegant home just blocks away. Alex, the well-known podcaster, attracts Josie's attention. Josie is looking for a change in her life, so she approaches Alex to propose that they should do a podcast together, documenting her big life changes as she implements them, along with her account of her past history. Despite some reservations, Alex agrees and they embark on the project in Alex's home recording studio. As the interviews progress, however, Alex learns some shocking truths about Josie's life. Josie met her husband when she was only 13 and married him when she was 18, and he was 43. I think it was 45. Either way, he was in his early 40s?
40s, yeah.
Yeah. Their eldest daughter, Roxy, ran away, and their youngest, Erin, never steps out of her bedroom and eats only baby food. Josie believes that Walter has been abusing Erin for nearly 6 years, but never confronts the problem, instead putting in earplugs when he leaves her bed every night. As Josie's confessions continue, Alex grows more uneasy with the situation. Beyond the details of Josie's life, she's insinuating herself into Alex's own life. But Alex is determined to finish the podcast, which is shaping up to be both explosive and important. When Josie visits Alex's house for the interviews, she often takes a small item from Alex's life, for example, a teaspoon or a bracelet or a drawing, and hides it in her underwear drawer when she gets home. When Josie and Walter have dinner at Alex's home, the situation comes to a head. Nathan, Alex's husband, stays out drinking with friends. He has been dealing with an alcohol addiction, an issue that Alex has shared with Josie. Josie is angry about the ruined dinner party, and when she gets home that night, she decides it's time for a change. Several hours later, she appears on Alex's doorstep, badly beaten, and claims that Walter, upset about the dinner party, had taken his frustrations out on her and Aaron. And that Aaron went to a friend's house, and that Josie is now relying on Alex to take her in. For a week, Josie stays with Alex, becoming increasingly comfortable wearing her clothes and exploring her home. They continue the podcast interviews, even delving into the disappearance of Brooke Ripley, Roxy's first girlfriend. As Alex becomes increasingly suspicious of Josie, Josie collects things from Nathan's pocket and uses them to create the suspicion of infidelity in Alex's mind. When Josie finally leaves and Alex's sister arrives for a visit, she thinks that Josie's influence in her life is over. That night, however, Nathan disappears. He was last seen getting into a car rented with Erin Fair's credit card. Erin Fair is Josie's daughter. Alex understands that Josie has kidnapped Nathan, and the search for them begins. Police break into Josie's apartment and find Walter beaten and dead in the bathtub, and Erin also badly beaten and comatose, tied to a chair. Roxy returns home to look after Erin, and when Erin comes out of her coma, she says that Josie committed all of the crimes. Together, they tell Aaron that Walter had not been abusing Aaron. They tell Alex that Walter had not been abusing Aaron. Aaron is a famous gamer, and Walter was just taking part in her gaming streams every night when he was in her room, helping her to monetize them so that she could gain independence and move out of the apartment. Aaron also tells her that Josie killed Brooke, and the police later find Brooke's body hidden in the Fair's garage, or garage, as they say. The police finally discover where Josie was holding Nathan, but it's too late. He's dead. Alex receives a text message from Josie, who claims that Nathan's death was an accident, that she only meant to hold him so that Alex could experience the freedom of life without him. But she also sends a vaguely threatening letter, but Alex never hears from her after that. Over a year later, Josie is on a bus when she hears two women talking about the Netflix documentary that's based off of Alex's podcast. She remembers the night of Brooke's death and recalls how Roxy was actually the one who accidentally killed Brooke, and the family colluded to hide the body. So, in her final chapter, Josie alludes to the readers that although she was not perfect, she wasn't actually a monster. She says that since Roxy, her daughter, was the one that killed Brooke all those years ago, all she had done since then was to protect her family. She holds on to the belief that no matter what else happened, she was a good mother. We, the reader, are left to wonder, what was the truth in this story? Was Josie a master manipulator, sociopath? What were her motives? Do we believe her story or the story of everyone else? The end.
Might as well get on with it. Number 1, consider how the book's title influenced your perception of events and characters. What elements were you suspicious of from the start of the title?
For me, I actually think that the title influenced my experience greatly. Because I was like, is it meant to be this obvious that none of what Josie's saying is true? I was suspicious about Josie from day one, everything she said and did. But I always, throughout reading, felt like there was a niblet of truth in what she said. I wasn't exactly sure how much of it was true, but I definitely was, very cautiously aware that what she was saying was most likely not true. But there were so many parts of her story that were a fact. It was a fact that she met her husband at a very young age and that they ended up getting married. It was a fact that her children had some interesting dynamics. One of them was Roxy had that behavior disorder. I forget what it's called. The other one had some kind of disability. So, all those were facts, but everything in her story, it just wasn't adding up for me. And I was very suspicious of her. I was never really suspicious of Alex. I think it would have been a more fun twist if she was the crazy one in the end.
That would have been a good twist.
I know. And Alex was just kind of naive throughout the story, but I felt like the none of this is true made me go okay, none of this is going to be true.
Is anything in the book true?
Right. So how did it affect you?
Well, I was the same as you. I kept
Okay.
the title in mind the entire time I was reading the book. Like they met in the pub, and I already was like, "Is your birthday the actual same day as Alex?" Like, but I think that was confirmed by the mom, right?
Yes.
When they kind of like ran into
It
each other.
was. And also that nothing more really came from them being birthday twins, which that could have been cool to utilize as well.
Right.
See, this always happens when we're reading the book. I'm like, but why didn't you do this?
I know. I never questioned Alex. I did question Aaron, Roxy, and Walter constantly. But I think that was Lisa Jewell's intention. Like,
I think so too.
I don't think she wrote this book with the premise of like everyone's going to understand. It's open-ended for a reason.
I totally agree.
And that's why I keep saying Verity. Like, I understand these are not the same plot lines. This is not, but the way I felt at the end of Verity is how I feel at the end of this one.
Me
like,
too.
I'm just constantly wondering.
It's like in our hands to decide what do we want to
We
believe.
believe what we want.
That's tough for me because I do prefer like a hard stop, like a cold truth almost. But some people love that, like to be able to think of it for themselves and determine what they want it to be. But I would have liked to know, Verity kills me, like absolutely
Right.
kills me. This story, like I kind of land on, and I don't know if we'll talk about this, but I kind of land on most of what everyone else said was true. I question a lot of the sisters.
I'm in agreement. Josie
Okay.
was nuts to me. I'll just go out there and say it now.
Right. Because no matter what, she still did abhorrent things like, leave her own child to die tied up in a closet at the end of it.
Right. And
She still was
if
terrible.
you really believed your child was being molested by her father, you're not putting earplugs in.
No, that part took me out.
Even if you created that in your own mind
Right.
and it didn't actually happen, you don't let it happen.
Right. Because Walter, the father, was not actually molesting Erin. He was going in her room like late at night to help her with these video games, and they kept it from Josie because she was super controlling and they didn't want her to ruin it. So even if Josie actually did believe, like you said, something else was going on, you literally kill him or go to the police.
Right.
Like you're not just like,
Like, what are you doing?
I think Alex was actually taken aback when she's like, well, did you do anything about it? She's like, no.
No,
It's like,
I didn't.
well, why, bitch?
What is wrong with you?
So yeah, she was crazy.
So going back to the birthday thing, what about a shared birthday might make you feel bonded to someone? Would you feel a sense of connection and intrigue the way Josie and Alex do? Why do you think that Josie imbues this relatively ordinary coincidence with so much importance and meaning?
I'm really thinking how I would feel if I ran into someone with the same exact birthday as me and born at the same hospital.
Right, that is a detail that
It's a pretty big deal.
it's a big deal.
Like, I don't know if... I don't know. Do you have anybody who has the same birthday as you that you know? Like, in your life?
No,
I don't think I do either.
lots of like birthdays around me,
Me too.
like days apart from me, but no.
No, it doesn't really do much for me. A lot of my family, like, we're all August. This might be, like, kind of irrelevant, but we never consider it like, oh, we're all born in August. Like, we're so similar, or we have this in common or that in common.
No.
Like, it's just a birthday. I think
No.
Josie was just kind of crazy.
She was. I think she was seeking Alex out.
I kind of do
mean, she's
too.
a podcaster, a more famous podcaster. So I think she was listening to the podcast, saw her niche, her genre, whatever, and was like, I'm going to swoop in and be friends. Because maybe Alex slipped up on the podcast and was like, I'm going out for my 45th birthday
So true.
to the pub.
To
I
the
don't
pub.
know.
Yeah, because Josie admitted this was strange for her. I never go out. I never do anything. I'm
Right.
never, and she just happens to be at the same place that Alex was, this girl that she becomes freakishly obsessed with. Yeah, I could totally see a world in which Josie sought her out.
That's
and even
what I
if she
think.
didn't, she clung on to her because she just needed something to cling on to. That's part of that. I think that's how she thrived in her life, was having things to control and be part of and controlling narratives.
I think she just always wanted what other people had. I don't know. Or
think
like
so
if
too.
I can't have it, no one can. It's really weird. In what ways are we encouraged to see Josie in a sympathetic light in the early chapters? How does Lisa Jewell's characterization lead us to think of Josie as just a little quirky, a little lonely, and ultimately harmless?
Well, she got me in the beginning because I was always suspicious of Josie, but like I did think of her as just like a little quirky.
She was just weird.
Yeah, she was just a little strange cat. But then very quickly I saw she was becoming like stalkerish. Like, why are you stealing things and putting them in your underwear drawer? you nasty. That's weird. But I did in the beginning just wonder, like, where is this going? Is Josie going to end up being the crazy one, or is Alex? Like, I thought it was going to be one or the other.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't know. She was fine for me at first.
I feel like sometimes I overlooked like that specific detail. I don't know why, because that's a big detail.
The fact that she was like taking little
collecting
things.
But I was trying to make like a list of like why we might think she's harmless or like sympathize with her. She was groomed by Walter. Now these are the things that she said, which like he was still old.
Yes, we do have to talk about that.
We do have to talk about that. Her mother just let it happen because initially that's what we were led to believe. That her kids want nothing to do with her and she doesn't understand why. Aaron has a disability. Aaron was molested by Walter. Brooke was molested by Walter, the friend. So I feel like those big events, we absolutely would be like, you poor thing. Like, you were dealt the shittiest hand.
You poor unfortunate soul.
Right. And then
I
it's
did
like,
feel like that. Listening to her talk, I'm like, dang, this girl really went through it. And like, she was completely groomed by him. And now she just, and it definitely got me too when she was just like, now I'm 45 and I have had no real life experiences that were my choice. Everything was forced upon me. Like, I love my kids, but I have no idea who I am outside of being like with Walter, like being attached to him. And I was like, if this is true, because I did keep that in my mind, if this is true, she should tell her story. And I'm glad she's getting it out in Walter jail. But I don't know.
big jail.
Big jail time for Walter in the beginning, hearing what she said. But I'm not sold on really anything, any part of that, besides the fact that Walter could have walked away.
Yeah.
Like,
he could have walked away.
You're still a grown man with autonomy over your decisions. Not just like, oh, I'm manipulated by this 16-year-old
I was manipulated by
girl.
this child.
Like, just literally walk away.
Sir.
Simply move away.
Stop contact with the family.
Right.
What are you doing? So you date the mom and then you date the daughter?
Right, like,
who's
something's
literally a child?
Right.
Okay. We'll jump to him in just a second.
Just
Put
a
a pin in
second.
that. Put a pin in that.
We'll circle back.
We're going to circle back. Let's table it for another time. As Alex learns increasingly dark details about Josie's life, she is disturbed but doesn't intervene, nor does she stop the podcast interviews. Do you think Alex should have done something? What do you think the outcome would have been?
You know, this is an interesting question. I didn't look at these questions before. And you saying this has making me reconsider Alex as a character, because no, why didn't she just like dig a little deeper or just be like, whoa, this is a lot. You're telling me some highly like incriminating details about a sexually abusive man who at this moment is currently still molesting your daughter, most likely, because in the present moment she was like, yeah, you molested my kid. So if someone was telling me this information, I'll be like, unfortunately, we're gonna have to cut ties and I'm gonna have to report this.
Right, like it's a moral ethic type of thing.
Right.
You know?
She was getting it. I guess she didn't stop it because it was so.
I'll say it's good for the podcast.
Right, exactly.
Like,
it's
that's
good
what
for
I
the
was
downloads.
thinking. Like, it's good content, but as like a good person, how do you go to sleep at night having 2 kids, knowing like
If what she's saying is true.
if what she's saying is true?
And it seemed like she believed her.
I was going to ask you that. Like, do you think Alex was believing her, or do you think? Because I feel like she started to get a little sketch.
I think she believed her up until that meeting that she had with Walter.
Yes.
And I wonder, I don't remember if that was before or after the abuse allegations.
But also, Josie, like, kind of like made that happen. She was like, "Oh, go see her studio." Like,
yeah, she actually forced them to be together.
Right. Like, Walter wasn't like, "I want to go see it." He was like, "Sure, I'll see it."
Which just further proves the point at the end that I do think my final, like where I land is that Josie is a sociopath, because it's like she wanted to get caught, or she wanted to like make things even more weird, because if she really wasn't telling the truth, like she had to believe that Walter was going to be like, she's lying.
Also, I think that Alex would have gotten herself killed.
Yeah.
Like, I think Josie would have killed Alex if she would have been like, "I'm going to the authorities." Like, she would have stopped it.
So true. She definitely would have.
Because why didn't Josie do it? And I get it. Look, I know, like, statistically, like, if you are abused, like, you don't
speak up.
You don't speak up. Like, I understand.
It's so
that.
much easier said than done. Like, go
But
to the
this
police.
is spoken just in the novel, in the book, in that world. Like, I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, very true.
But I think she would have been killed. I think Josie would have killed her.
She would have been like, but she would have yanked her up so fast. You ain't going nowhere, huh? She'd have tied her up in a bathroom just like she did poor Walter.
Literally, she hog-tied them.
Literally.
Psycho.
Wait, at the end. When like it was like part of the documentary and he was like saying how Erin survived, he said she was tied up in the closet and she was sucking the strands of a dirty mop to survive.
Y'all.
I'm sorry.
What?
That was how she was getting like hydrated. She was just like sucking the strands of a
Vitamins
dirty
and
mop.
minerals.
Oh my God, that was insane.
It's actually like, how do you think of shit like that?
No, Lisa Jewell, seriously.
Lisa, speak up.
Well, I know. 'Cause if you think about Miss Lisa, if you think back to then she was gone. And God, I read
That
this,
is so true.
and we read this book like a while ago, and I don't remember everything that happens, but I remember it just being like really fucked up at one point. And I remember being like, okay, it's a weird thing to put in a book, but okay. So like,
we need to keep a list of like the weird shit that happens in books.
why have we not done that yet?
We need to keep a list.
A
and
bulleted
that would
list.
be such a fun episode, like literally just recapping the random shit. Okay, let's talk about Walter.
Okay.
So, what was your initial reaction to the scene in which Josie screams at and slaps Walter? After knowing the ending, how do you now understand their dynamic?
Well, I was like, not me feeling bad for Walter. Like, he was just like, in that moment, I was like, he's just a little old guy. Like,
And he was described as like
it's like
an old man.
He was just like an
He was
old
grandpa.
man. That's what someone in the neighbor was like. Yeah, I was worried about them because the daughter was disabled and the dad was quite old. I was like, oh,
Quite old.
He's like 75. Well, I think that's when I really started to question Josie. Even though what she's saying was true, because she was like, pedophile.
I know. I was like, that is good for your pedophile.
yeah,
ass.
you pedophile. And I was
You
like,
pedophile.
you know what? He deserved that. But I did, in the back of my mind, have what he told Alex. And that's what made me go like, what if he's really not as bad and he really is also kind of like a victim of Josie in a way? Take away the fact that, you know, he still could have walked away from her when
Right.
she was a young
I was
child.
like, how do we justify it though? Because
I
no
know.
matter what, at the end of the day, like
He could have walked away.
he was still
Way older than her.
way older than her.
That's the thing. So if we take the pedophilia away,
Because if he was 75 and she's 45 now.
let's do the maths. That's what they say in Britain, in London.
Britain.
The maths. What is it?
It's fucking 30 years. How do we not do mental math?
No, she's 13.
Wrong.
And I don't care
And
that-
he took her virginity at 16.
Uh-uh.
So he went 33. No. Oh my God, jail. You disgusting. See, like, how do you justify that? I don't care if she manipulated you. You're a grown man. You're still wrong.
You're still wrong. He simply, like I said, could have walked away.
Could have walked away.
He could have said, you're trying to seduce me right now, and I am a grown man, and I'm not going to let
And
my...
this is gross.
And this is gross. And even if I have urges, I'm not going to act on them. I'm going to leave.
And I'm sleeping with your mother.
Right, by the way, like, that's giving incest. No, he deserved the slap. But I can say that what Walter was good for was making me just, like, really question Josie. When him and Alex had that meeting, and he was basically like, girl, why are you believing everything she says? Like, she's crazy. So I think, you know what? Two things can be true at once. Josie was crazy.
Absolutely.
Walter was a
Walter's a
pedophile.
pedophile.
Yeah.
Pedophile. Yeah, I think you nailed it with that one. Absolutely. In the very last scene, Josie is on a bus contemplating the past. She is convinced herself that the way she remembers things is what really happened. Do you think we're supposed to believe her, or is she actually deluding herself? You already know my answer to this one.
She's crazy.
Yeah, she is deluding herself.
sure.
I will die on that hill. Like I don't care.
Right, because even if we take away the things that might have been true about what she said, like AKA Walter, she still was a horrible mother. She still bold-faced lied to Alex when she showed up at her doorstep and claimed that domestic violence happened. And she was like, me and Erin left the house. Erin went right, I went left. Alex is like, shouldn't we go look for your daughter?
Right.
She's like, no, she's fine. First of all, that alone, even if that was true, that wasn't true.
That's enough.
That's enough to say 911.
Something's wrong with you.
Right. So that also makes me go, Alex, you're going to just say, okay, you just let your daughter walk away down the street. we're not going to go check on her. No, that was weird. You don't just let your daughter walk to the left in the middle of the night
Absolutely not.
after you just got beat up by her father, who you also believe molested her. So Josie,
Drop that motherfucking mic.
No, she's crazy. do you believe, though, that Roxy was actually the one who killed Brooke in the end? Or I guess for me, it doesn't really matter either way. It doesn't really take away Josie's part in everything.
It doesn't. I don't. I'm so stuck on Josie is nuts.
And she's a liar.
And she's a liar.
Because she lied about so many other things.
Right.
So why would we believe anything you say?
Because if Roxy was in love with Brooke, what was her motivation to kill her anyway?
Right. Exactly. There was none.
There's no motive there. I think Josie killed Brooke because she could see Roxy was obviously more gravitated towards her.
She couldn't take it.
She couldn't take it.
Yeah.
She's the jealous person. She's the one that's jealous of everyone else.
Yep. And has to control her own narrative.
You tried to kill your daughter. You killed your husband. You killed Nathan.
And she also lied in her final message to Alex when she said that Walter, her husband, died. Basically, she alluded to of a heart attack. She was like, it didn't really happen the way he just got so shocked when I said I was going to come forward that he had a heart attack. But that's a lie because why was he tied up in the bathtub?
Right.
So that's a lie.
You lied.
Liar.
That is 100% where I stand. So which character would you want to bring on for an exclusive Open Books podcast interview?
Ooh, this is hard. Something makes me really want to talk to Nathan.
Oh, good one.
So, do we talk about Nathan?
We really didn't give Nathan the attention that he deserves.
I think we need to talk about
We'll
Nathan.
talk about just like character development in general
Okay.
after.
So I would want to talk to Nathan, and I really want to talk to Erin.
Oh, good.
So she was the daughter who there was just so many complexities that I think would be so interesting for Lisa Jewell to have like delved deep into,
Yes.
just like for my own interest. I really don't remember what type of disability she had, but they said she had something. She sat in the room, in her bedroom, with this like horrible stench coming out. Never really talked about the stench. What was that? What was so smelly going on in there?
Pause. If she's a gamer, stays up all night, maybe she's just not a cleanly person.
Maybe she just got BO.
Maybe she has a stinky room. I don't know.
She's
It would have to be
giving stink.
She's giving funky.
She's giving
It would have to
funk.
be really gross though. But was that even true? Did the room even
What?
smell?
Wait, that's so true. We don't know.
We don't know.
Maybe she's not able to fully take care of herself. Josie became neglectful, and
Yeah, like
she
you're
stopped
leaving
going
your
in there.
kid.
Right. Anybody's gonna smell.
Right.
Like, what if she has her period?
Right.
Like, you need to wipe yourself. So I could see that.
Sicko.
But I would want to know just more like, give us the details on how do you monetize your platform.
No, literally, give us the details. We need
Erin
to
hit
know.
us up. Like,
Erin, we need to know.
she was like, I'm a famous gamer. Like, she had so much money from it. Josie stole like millions not millions, thousands of dollars.
that part.
Yeah.
She's taking all of her pounds.
She's taking all of her pounds from her accounts. That's fucked up.
It is. I'm
It's
like,
bonkers.
and we're supposed to just believe you?
So
You're
now we need,
draining your child's bank account.
we need a running list of like reasons why Josie Fair was an absolute piece of shite. Yeah, you're right. Like
Josie Fair
shite.
is a steaming piece of
shite.
shite.
Put that in your podcast. Who do you want to have dinner with?
Alex.
Alex.
Just because I'm like, she's a famous podcaster, give us the tips. Like,
Oh, seriously.
and you got to connect with Netflix. Like, tell us what do we need
what
to
microphones do you use?
What
Alex?
microphone do you use? Go, Nathan.
Donate it.
Give it to the Open Books podcast. So, character development, character interactions, dialogue.
Yeah.
I thought it was solid.
Me
10 out
too.
of 10.
I think it was one reason why I actually really liked the book.
It felt real.
It did feel real because, it wasn't so plot heavy in the end, like thinking about it now.
Correct.
Not that many like crazy twists happened. Now that I'm thinking about it. Actually, for me, it wasn't very twisty at all because I always kind of knew that Josie was a crazy person.
But I still enjoyed
But I still
listening.
enjoyed it. And I think that's due
Listening.
to the character development.
For sure.
I felt connected to them.
And this is something we were in a group text with Angela, and she was saying just like how real Alex and Nathan's like marriage seemed, like their interactions with each other, and just like the real human side to it.
I felt like the love between them was obvious. It
Yes.
was real. I think that he really loved his children. She loved seeing him as a father. She was not unhappy in her life by any means, but I do think she maybe didn't realize that she was feeling complacent.
Yeah.
Which is why I think she allowed Josie into her life, because she's like, okay, this is kind of
Yeah,
fun.
I do need something.
Right.
To like kind of shake it up in my life.
Exactly. And I think that she struggled a lot because her husband had an alcohol addiction. I know so many
Which,
people
like,
can relate to that.
Exactly. Like, that's a real thing. He wasn't cheating on her. He wasn't like a shitty dad. And like overall, he really wasn't a shitty husband.
No,
he
I
just,
think
like,
he genuinely loved her as well.
Yes, he did. I think so too. And I think he just got like, once he went out to the pub with the boys after work, like he just got he didn't know when to cut it off.
And he blacked out often.
Yes.
And so she would go to bed, probably, it seemed like a once a week thing. It got to that point.
Yep.
She would go to bed anxious. And then she would see him play with the children. And she's like, oh, I love him. Very like real relatable, I'm sure, for many people in the world.
I would say so.
For sure. So I thought that was really interesting. And then when he passed, when he just got by Josie,
Dude.
I was like, damn, he did not deserve that.
Nathan
Did not deserve that. And
He didn't.
I also just felt sad for Alex too, because she was, I think at that point, really reflecting on her life and like her marriage. And she's like, I want that back. Like, I'll take the sadness or whatever I was going through. Like, let's just fix it. Like, I want to fix it. But she couldn't, because he was murdered.
You like so grateful.
However, there were many times in the book when I was like, Nathan, stop being a piece of shit.
Okay, but also like he should have had some kind of accountability.
Right.
Like I
Grow up.
understand, but like you can't be in the pub until
No.
the next morning.
You have a wife at home.
You have a wife and kids at home.
Grow up.
Go home. You don't need to go every single week too. Would you have enjoyed this book as much, I guess I should say, if you read it versus listening to the audiobook?
My initial thoughts are probably not.
Same here.
Okay. I think because it was not as plot heavy, it was really not as fast paced as previous Lisa Jewell books that I had read.
Agreed. And the audiobook was an overall masterpiece. I will say that as well.
We have to talk about that.
It was a cinematic experience for my ears. Music that faded into a next scene. Transitions, thank you.
Different narrators for different characters.
It was just so well done. Like her podcast, like you could almost hear the audio switch a little bit from like it actually being the book to like clicking into the podcast. Like it sounded like that you could hear
like
him talking into his microphone. Yeah. So well executed. Like if you're going to take on this book, just listen to the audiobook. Do yourself a
completely
favor.
agree. I was so excited to put my AirPods in to listen to this audiobook, and we texted multiple times. I don't want this to end because I was so entertained.
The best audiobook I've ever listened to.
Me too.
Ever.
It was so well done, and every single character had like a great narrator voice. Because that is true. I know we've said this so many times, but it's so true. If you don't really like vibe with a narrator's voice, it's hard to enjoy the audiobook. But Lisa Jewell must just have the big bucks and like the connects.
Clearly.
Because every narrator had the perfect crispy rasp, the perfect accent.
Good. And it is going to be coming to Netflix, correct?
Yes.
Like what?
And we found that out like 2 days ago.
What?
So
it's coming to Netflix.
Not only did we get to enjoy this like cinematically, we get to see it visually.
Hold on.
Hold up.
Do you think that this could have been in the works with Netflix? Like they reached out to her and was like, hey, if you do
For
a
the
book.
audiobook?
Because think about it. In the writing, Netflix is built in.
Yeah.
They're
100%.
doing a Netflix
It's a
documentary
collab.
on her podcast, and now the book is becoming an actual Netflix series.
So this is feeling like we're breaking like a fourth wall here.
Okay,
you know what I
now
mean?
we're scientists.
Okay,
again.
now we're getting
now
into
we're
dark matter.
scientists again.
This
Wait,
feels like a parallel universe. If I'm being honest,
I feel like that little part of your brain's being scratched right
Yep.
now. Like, what is happening?
Wait a minute, you're right. Everything is interdimensional
What's
in
going
this.
on?
And once I started mentioning Netflix, and then they get to the end of
That's
the book.
way too oddly specific.
Because Josie is listening to these two girls talk about, did you watch that Netflix documentary? Did you watch that Netflix documentary about the podcast? And they're like, yeah, that girl was crazy.
And now
then
we
she
are going to
sent-
actually watch the Netflix series
about the podcast.
about the podcast and the crazy girl.
I feel like Josie's somewhere like this. Like she knew the whole time. Like
That's Lisa Jewell right now.
Lisa Jewell.
Some reviews.
Yes,
Because I
I'm ready.
want your opinions on it.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll start with our 5-star. Did it deliver? Oh my God. Wait until you read this. Fire emoji. It's getting to the point that every single year, Lisa Jewell is on my top 10 of the year, sometimes multiple times. This year is going to be no different. She killed it, perhaps her best yet. Birthday twins. I actually use that term. Let's just say I might need to stop. Holy freaking creepiness. Two girls walk into a pub.
Two girls, one pub.
It sounds dirty. Alex Summers, glitz and glamour podcaster. She is quite the talk of the town. Girl is 45. And then there is Josie, also in the pub, also turning 45. But there's something about Josie, something bizarre. She wears denim all the time. We didn't really talk about that.
That was weird. Weird.
Heck, her curtains are denim. I have nothing against denim, but this is one odd duck. As Josie
Were
starts...
her curtains denim? Oh my God. I don't
remember that detail. As Josie starts to talk, run into Alex. Things get really weird.
So other people are thinking what you're thinking
they're
too.
on our, Mm-hmm. Lock the door, put the house up for sale, weird. These characters were fantastic in classic Lisa Jewell fashion. They were all a little sketchy and had my mind working double time. What an ending. What the hell? Lisa Jewell, give me more. This ending, I loved it. I am speechless.
Love that.
Here's the 1 star.
Okay.
Thank goodness this is finally over. I'm well aware I am in a minority here, and now I know not to trust positive reviews so easily after experiencing this complete mess. Listen, I don't care how you try to spin it, but you cannot make me sympathize with the groomer and a pedophile while portraying the minor as a villain in the situation. The whole attempt was utterly despicable and disgusting. Moving beyond the problematic content, the book was also painfully dull that it actually put me in a slump as I repeatedly picked it up and set it aside, ultimately losing all interest in the story, which to begin with didn't captivate me at all with how much it dragged. It felt like I was just waiting for something to happen the entire time, only to find out the outcome was predictable from the title alone. I wouldn't even classify this as a thriller or a mystery. Honestly, fuck this book.
Wow, the ending. I've never heard that in a review. Fuck this book. I do believe that I might have been someone who felt like the book dragged on if I had read it Kindle or hard copy.
I agree with that. I think that's a fair comment.
But just because it wasn't twisty and turny, like I actually kind of knew how it was going to end the whole time. I just knew that it was going to be her in the end.
Correct.
If
I
it had been,
wanted to listen so badly because I enjoyed it. I liked listening to them talk.
And that's the key.
And I was like, ooh, what's going to happen next?
For sure.
Even though I had kind of an idea.
I was still invested.
I was. I enjoyed it. I liked the book.
Me too.
I would give it a solid 4 stars.
Easily.
Audiobook, it's 5.
Audiobooks gets 10 if we could. Yeah, so good.
Absolutely.
But overall, really liked the book. I really
It was a good
did.
book.
Yeah.
Gets our stamp.
For sure.
It is the Open Books Podcast approved.
Check.
Add it to your TBR. It was a good book. So our next on the shelf. This is going to be a little different, guys. So we are going to do a collab, a very special collab, and we will give those details soon.
Very soon, yes.
Very soon. So
Bolo.
we'll let you know.
Be on the lookout.
Bolo for our next title.
Yes.
It's coming at you soon.
For sure. And in the meantime, follow us on Instagram at Open Books Podcast, TikTok at The Open Books Podcast, and bye. Bye.
Peace
Love y'all.
out.